Today, I'm going to be working on my old Saturn L200. I bought a Jeep over the summer and I haven't been driving my Saturn. My Saturn has a few issues and I wanted to go ahead and fix it and use this as an opportunity to learn a few things. There's a few things that are wrong in the car that I want to get fixed before maybe even attempting to sell it or just, getting rid of it. The first being that it's super loud, and I drove this car in Illinois, that's where I bought it, and I drove it in Minnesota. During those times, the winters, they pour a lot of salt, and so a lot of rust kind of built up on the bottom. So there's an exhaust leak. I'll show you kind of the holes in where it just completely rusted through. The other thing is that the brakes stopped working. The AC doesn't work. I live in Florida now, and you kind of need the AC. Right now I'm indoors. It's pretty windy outside, so the microphone is probably going to be really loud. So I'm going to do this here for now, but I'm going to take you outside. I'm going to show you some of the stuff, and then we're going to try getting under the car and seeing what's underneath. Here's a side-by-side of my old exhaust versus my new one. So right away you could see, boom, rusted out. There's an exhaust leak. Right after the cat, we got another hole. This guy I was able to get off the junkyard in one complete swap. I should have just undid it over there and transported, but I was able to put this all in my old car, basically from the trunk all the way over to the dash. At the junkyard, they usually cut it off right after the catalytic converter. And so I had this little chunk just sticking out, and I think my dad was able to undo these bolts and take that off. Now on my other car, it's just straight cut, so that chunk towards the cat converter is still on my car, and so I have to take care of that. So I have to stress this. This isn't strictly safe, and I highly don't recommend anyone to do this. And another thing is, again, as I mentioned before, my brakes aren't really working, so when I'm driving that car, what I'm doing is I'm constantly pulling that handbrake to stop. That's the only way that I could do it. Otherwise, my brake just completely floors it, or just goes down. I don't know how you technically call it, but basically pedal to the metal, and that's usually when you go fast. The only way I could stop is with the handbrake. The plan now is to get up onto that ramp so that way I have some space underneath me, so that way it could work underneath the car and get a good view as far as what's under there, what it is that I need to address, and so on and so forth. Let's take a look at what we have to work with. All right, I don't know how much it is that you are able to see. This here, I'm pretty sure is the catalytic converter, at least right after it or something, I'm not sure. This is what I need to take off. Here are the bolts I need to deal with. I don't think there's any way I could possibly get a nut in there. This one's completely rusted, completely gone, but the bolt is still in there. So I might have to drill it. I don't know what I'm gonna do. That's a goner. I should be on my back. I absolutely hate these things. Those of you that know what I'm talking about, can I please get a like? Because this is just Florida's nightmare. If you step on this, it just ruins your day. Just absolutely ruins your entire day. Dang, man, it's so rusted. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I need tools, that's what I need. What I'm gonna try doing now is, I have a buddy of mine that lives in Chicago, and he works on cars a lot. I'm gonna ask him what is the best course of action here. And actually, my cousin just texted me. I sent him a picture of this, and he said, "Torch and pray." Hey Siri, call Alex Yevdush.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, are you busy right now?
I'm going to KFC right now, get some stuff.
I have a car question for you. It's I'm kind of in the middle of a dilemma here. And I wanted to see what your advice is, but more so what your reaction is to the situation that I'm dealing with. How long is it going to take you to get to KFC?
A couple minutes.
Okay.
But it shouldn't be threaded.
Oh.
Thread is only
Okay.
only on the nut, and then at the other part you could knock it out. All right.
Yeah, I think.
I'm a KFC chef.
Okay. Just call me. Just Skype me back, or call me back whenever. I was able to knock out one of these bolts here. It went in here. The thread on the bolt is only on one side. If you could get past that, it just simply acts like a pin. And so what I did was this bolt here was stuck in there. And I took this screwdriver, I hit it on one side, and I just hammered it right out. What I need to try doing is that I got this bolt here. I think this part needed to be cut right off, which was here on this end. So once I get this chunk cut off, this whole thing then just acts like a pin, and then I could take a hammer, pound it right out. If I could do that to both of these bolts, I should be able to take this entire chunk off. I need to find something could cut this down to basically just that bolt. Okay, I found the grinder, but it's big. Yeah, if I'm not careful, I could just as easily lop my fingers off. Power tools. Safety first. Safety first, guys. This should come as no surprise, but I'm an idiot. The grinder that I had initially, this guy over here, is actually meant for stone or tile. It does not cut metal. What I should have used was this guy, and I ended up doing that. My battery on the GoPro died. I wasn't able to film anything, but I transferred over to using this grinder, and I went ahead and I grinded it off. And I got to the bolts kind of off, and so I tried tapping it a little bit with the screwdriver, and it started sliding through. And I didn't go all the way through. I wanted to save it and go ahead and show you guys me popping off that little chunk that I need off, so that way I could get the rest of the muffler off. So this is the one that I should have used from the very beginning. Meanwhile, as the GoPro was charging, I went to the store and I got basically a replacement gasket. This will replace this metal gasket. And then I went ahead and I bought some new bolts. Just to kind of go back and explain what I did to get this off. This is the pipe that's going to the catalytic converter in the car, and this is how the bolt is kind of fitted. What I ended up doing was I grinded off this head off the bolt, so that way all that's left is that cylinder. Not all of it is threaded. What happens now is that once this is lopped off, that straight cylinder is left, and what I could do is then just pound it through and it should just slide right off because there's no thread holding it together. That's kind of where it's left off. Right now I have the heads lopped off, and I'm gonna go ahead and tap that off, and you guys should be able to see that. So that's what we're gonna do next. This is what I've been working with. As you can see, I kind of lopped it off, and what you see is whatever's left of the bolt. I already kind of tried tapping it out a little bit. Let's do this. It's so uncomfortable down here. Look at that. Boom. That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna clean that up a little bit first, make it a little bit more flush with the grinder. Hopefully the new bolts will just sit fine. This is good. Awesome. Pretty much time now to shimmy this thing under that car. All right, he finally called back. Boy fell asleep. Yeah, right. He probably got down to business. That's what probably happened. You know what? It's probably a better idea to get those hooks on, because if I bolt this down before I put the hooks on, I won't be able to move it back and forth. And I feel like I'm probably gonna need that in order to get this to fit straight. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get at least the majority of the hooks in. There are these rubber pieces that fit to these hooks here. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get one of them at least in there. Whew. We got one, got the other. I'm gonna move this forward as much as it could go. And then I gotta try getting the next hook in. Gotcha! Ha ha ha! Yes! Get on there, get in there, boy. Right. Gotcha. That wasn't so bad. Got one. I should have done this one first. Gotcha. If only I could get that screwdriver out now. All right. I think for the time being, that's okay. I'll just have to remember that there's still one more rubber hook to get on. I should be able to do that after I kind of get up a ramp going backwards, because right now the clearance is just too low and I can't get to it. All right, time to bolt it up. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Ooh, my arm's getting tired. Just don't know how much torque I guess I'm just... Oh man, you scared the crap out of me. And I'm like talking to the camera too. I'm also talking to the camera too, so I'm just like focused on some other thing. This is it. This is the moment we see how it sounds. Hopefully it's all okay. Yes! Yes! It doesn't sound like Thor is just enraged. It's just calm seas. Calm seas. This is great. I mean, there's so much more other stuff that's wrong with this car, but man, it's nice to hear this thing quiet. This is fantastic. This is good. Yes. That's going to wrap it up today. What I did was I changed out the exhaust system, basically everything after the catalytic converter all the way to the muffler. I ran into a few issues where the bolts were rusted and I had to cut them off, and then I just pounded it out and then I swapped it. It went a lot smoother than I thought it would. That now leaves me with two other issues that I have to deal with in this car before it's basically okay. That is the brakes, because right now I'm just using the handbrake. I have to figure out what it is that's making my brakes fail. Also, I have to fix the AC. Now the AC you could kind of deal without it. However, come summertime in Florida, that's kind of an issue. You could only drive with the windows down for so long. Basically, the next thing I'm going to try doing is fixing the brakes. But for today, in this weekend, that's a wrap. I'm really happy with how that turned out, and it's not loud. It's not super loud, and that's all I wanted. All right. Booyah.